Hey, welcome back.
Hey.
Today, I would like to answer a very good set of questions from a frequent viewer and commenter, Pedro Blanco. And first, let me just say thank you so much. For those of you who don't know, Pedro is the person that reminds me to put Spanish subtitles in my videos because I often forget. So thank you for that. Also, he submitted this question about a day or so ago. I wanted to get a video about it yesterday, but we were kind of busy. And I wanted to use daylight just in case we have power issues. To start, he says, "Hi, Steve and Sean. We hope you're doing well, and thank you for sharing another informative video. Do you have a rough idea you might have your next live stream? We've been talking about possibly doing a live stream, but with the shaky power issues in the country, I don't want to schedule something like that, and then all of a sudden the power goes out. So I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to have that happen in the middle of a live stream. So, which is the reason we haven't done one.
And so that's why we're doing this video.
Right. Next says,
we've been preparing for a move to Ecuador for some time. Sean was right. There are many things one likely isn't planning on which need to be done prior to moving. So this slowed us down some. We thought we were ready to put our house on the market about 2 months ago. However, given the electricity situation in Ecuador, we decided to delay. If in some sci-fi movie you could put together the knowledge you have currently, let's call it an ability to know Ecuador would be in a multi-month power problem, and you were planning an international move, A, would you pause the move and still pick Ecuador? I think we will pause just because of the uncertainty with the power outages, and we just got notice from, what was the ministry?
Yeah, well, local.
Well, no, Itapa.
Itapa, yeah.
Itapa with the water rationing. We're going into a water rationing now.
Yeah, if it doesn't rain like this week.
So I would say pause, just because of the uncertainty, and you don't want to come here and get discouraged because you're not having electricity, you're having long power outages, and now water rationing. Right. So I would wait. That's my opinion.
Okay, so for me, I know how bullheaded I am about certain things. If I have something in mind to do, the power issue. Now, I will say this. As far as I know, Pedro will be coming with a family, so that's a different situation than us.
Exactly, because you're not alone.
Right.
When you're bringing someone else, you have to think of others.
Right.
And what you're risking, and
for them,
and putting them in a situation that they may not be happy about.
Right.
So
yeah,
again,
I would say in your situation, yeah, you should probably wait. The rains are supposed to come December, January-ish, and then that way you'd have a better idea. It's only a couple months. Now, for anyone else watching, if you're by yourself and it's not a big deal, then it may not be a big deal, because the next option that Pedro gave was B, move right into the situation and hope for the best. And like I said, I know me. If it wasn't me and LaShawn, I would choose B, because that's just my personality. But I understand why people wouldn't choose B, because you come here to try to enjoy your time, especially if you're not going to be working, and if the power's out constantly, then you're not going to enjoy yourself, and then your first impression of the country, or your first long impression after moving, would be negative.
Or you can move into a condo or a building that has a generator. There are some buildings here that do have generators. I don't know about the water situation.
Right.
I
think you'd be out back either way with the water.
Right. And finding a place that has a generator, and let me just put this out here. Before we came to Cuenca, we were living in Salinas, and we were living in a building that had a generator. Now, with these long outages, that can put a strain on the generator.
And it depends on what the generator is actually powering, because in the building in Salinas that we lived in, it didn't power. We still had no power.
Right.
It just powered the elevators and the admin.
The doors,
right, and the garage
security.
door. So yeah, some buildings have a generator that powers the whole building, but ours didn't.
So that's something to weigh too. Not only that, how often is that generator going to be maintenance?
Yeah. because it's
Or
constantly
maintain.
it's constantly turning on and off.
Yes.
And it's never good. Like a generator's meant to be a backup, not a constant. And that's fuel cost, and there's all kinds of things that go into that.
Yeah, all different types of factors that play into that generator being very functional.
Right. C was will we reevaluate our considerations of other countries? For just me. Just
You
speaking
can't
for
just
me,
speak it on you. You got to speak for both of us.
Well, I will but you gave your opinion about the other one, so I'm gonna give mine. I would say yes, I would reevaluate it, but if your main options were like Central and South America, they're all going through like a major drought right now.
Exactly.
So you'd have to reconsider pretty much all of them. Like Colombia is they're all going through the same situation.
Is it Colombia,
Colombia,
Peru?
and I think Venezuela. I'm not sure if it's Peru as much, but they are going through a drought too. Brazil, all these countries are going through major droughts and water issues and potential power issues. So when it comes to reconsidering, then what were my other options to begin with? If it was like Europe or something, then yeah, sure. But if it's Central or South America, then I'd have to. It wouldn't just be reconsider Ecuador; it'd be reconsider the whole
South
continent,
America,
pretty much.
And not only that, like you said, if you go to Mexico or you go to Argentina, how long is that going to last? Like you may have electricity for a good amount of time, and then the drought starts to affect that country.
Those areas,
too.
So like these situations, they're hard to predict. The one good thing is that ahead of time that this country's going through this situation. So it's not really a prediction. It's just like, should I wait? Should I go? I can't speak for like potential for like natural disasters and things like that in other areas. It's definitely going to happen in other places. But I do see the thought process if somebody did try to reevaluate the country in general.
And that's normal. If you find out that a country is having issues with electricity, water, things that are necessity to your livelihood, then yeah, it may be a reevaluation that you may need to do.
Right. Another question was, when you were in Virginia, narrowing down your list, which countries made your top 5? For us, initially it was Panama, Costa Rica, Africa. Now, we weren't sure where in Africa, maybe Ghana. So I can't really say narrow down that.
We did look, but you had saw the infrastructure wasn't as...
The infrastructure needs just weren't maybe what we would need to move into Africa. Plus, we were trying to stay as close to the United States as possible. But we didn't even have 5.
Wait, you had Panama, you had Costa Rica, you had Ecuador, Africa.
Not real. I don't even think we considered Mexico, really.
No, we didn't consider Mexico.
Yeah, and that was for no particular reason, honestly. So it was Panama, Costa Rica, Ecuador, Africa. Ecuador just kind of came out on top, especially after we visited, especially the use of the U.S. dollar.
It met all of our needs.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, next. So, by the way, if you chose pause the move, how long do you think you keep it on pause prior to thinking?
Well, if our goal was an international move and we've been waiting on the power situation to improve, yes, it is going to essentially rain. Eventually rain. However, the long-term solutions seem murky. So when the eventual next drought comes, we might have to endure a repeat of this. Maybe we should move on to choice number 2.
Well, you kind of answered that question already. So, yeah, it's a situation where the country is trying to take steps to future-proof this so that if a future drought happens, that it's not as big of an issue. It's just that the extent of this drought has been so massive that we can't get the power that we used to get from Colombia and Peru to try to make up the difference.
Because they're going through the same thing.
Right, they're going through the same thing. So this is like it's kind of a once in a lifetime thing, but with the way the globe is kind of changing, it could happen a lot more often. So you might be right.
Change.
Right. You might be right about going to number 2. Like we said earlier, yeah, we probably would wait. I would wait a couple months at least, just until that's deep into the rainy season, and there'll be a better idea of, it's going to be another drought throughout the rainy season. If not, then the country should go back to kind of somewhat normal. We'll see how that works out. There's an election coming up next year. We don't know how that's going to change things. But for us, it's not to the point where it's driving us away or anything like that.
Like we said, we're adapting to the way things are. We try to utilize our time efficiently, and we utilize the power and water efficiently as possible. We don't know about, give him a moment, that's the gas man.
The local gas guy.
The water rationing, that can be a game changer, especially for showers, washing your dishes, and I know some people have dishwashers. Those things will play a factor too, because not only if you don't have electricity, you don't have water, that can be a big issue.
Yeah.
So that's something that will stay in the back of our mind, and if we have to reevaluate Ecuador when that time comes, we will.
Right. So yeah, definitely, with the power situation, should you choose or not to, even if you wait until the power situation is fine, perfect again, still evaluate the places that you're looking at, because I know, like LaShawn's mentioned before, if you have all electric everything, then power outages shut you down completely.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
you definitely want some gas appliances, and that's very plentiful here.
Right.
I will die on that hill.
Yeah.
Gas stove, gas,
Yeah.
water.
We will always choose gas, because if the electricity goes out, you can still cook.
Yeah.
If
still
it's
shower.
cold, you can have heat.
Yeah.
Hot showers and stuff like that.
Yep.
So
thank you, Pedro. I hope this response didn't go too long.
and we hope we answered your question as best as possible. Our situation is different because it's just us two. We kind of can navigate this situation a little bit better than if where we were moving. If we were moving with kids, it would definitely be
That'd be a different situation.
a different situation.
So thank you for being such a great, dedicated viewer in the comments. Subscriber. We so much appreciate it. The tips you've given us, we really appreciate it. So once again, thank you.
Yes.
And we will be back soon.
Bye.
Bye.